You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Leftist lies and globalists, I'm pushing them back. From the saloon to the airwaves, I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big gods creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Freedom's calling. Leftist judges twisted, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air. My voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall. Sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. The static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, rules will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, clear the board, clear the baffles, crazy Ivan, dirty Ivan, bad Ivan, just bastard Ivan. And here I am. I'm BZ. Sadly, fortunately for you, you are not. So anyway, I'm broadcasting. I am your conservative Sherpa, broadcasting from a true free state. I am fundamentally doing the job that the American media maggots will not. I am chasing, excuse me, I could be chasing, but I'm changing America one leftist diaper at a time. And to tell you that what you're going to be hearing for the next roughly hour, 2 hours, something like that, consists of my opinion and my opinion only, and that of my guests. Wow. Instead of priapism, it appears that my microphone has dropsy. Like ichthyopterius that I used to get from my tropical fish. But moving on, I got to tell you this. We don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversations. We are still serving stiff drinks in the saloon. Stiff. Along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, clarity, tradition, and common sense for normal people like you and me. Politics, religion, crime, culture, race, sex, science, economics, law. We talk about it all right here at the Saloon, where the speech is free, but the booze is not. And I am streaming live right now at all the places where I stream live, known to most people as the streaming lively places that can be found where live streams are located. So thanks for being here tonight. I greatly appreciate it. I want to tell you this. Oh, news. Got great news. I'll start with this. First, don't touch the TV. It'll be okay. Don't touch your monitor. I'm having an experiment right now. I don't want your shit to blow up. The other thing that I'm going to be telling you is that starting next Tuesday, I am not going to tell you his name. I am not going to tell you. I have a photograph. I have a new producer, and he begins next Tuesday, and he is not in the studio with me. He is from another locazione. That's Italian for location, and we came to an agreement. It was a high 5-figure salary that we decided upon. And Lord knows, everyone knows, if there's anybody that needs a producer, it's me. And so let's just start all the people. Let's all have all the people drop in. Look, it's Jersey Joe, and it's Rowdy Rick, and it's Jeremy Hansen, and soon coming to the stage, Jeremy Hansen, you got a haircut, dude. Very nice.
Well, thank you.
Very, very nice. Kudos and credits to you. I have not gotten one. I don't think I've taken a bath or a shower since 1923. That's just me. And you guys are not in the same studio with me, so you don't have to worry about any of that.
Say, BZ, you know that droopy microphone thing? There's pills for that. Just saying.
Yeah, that's right. Blue Chew. I'm going to have to get a baglet of Blue Chew for my mics. And coming very shortly, or at least he's breathing hard, will be Sean Lewis. He should be here at the bottom of the hour. This will be a good show. This will be an interesting show. It's a weird show.
I mean, I'm here, so weird's built in.
Yeah, weird is built in. So we will have a fifth. I will have a fifth.
Ooh, a fifth?
We will all be having a fifth very shortly.
No
when
vodka, though.
Backhead Sean comes in.
What do you mean no vodka?
Oh, no vodka. No vodka. No vodka.
Oh, that's like me and tequila. Oh, no. For those who just tuned in, no.
You can't say no tequila on National Tequila Day, sir.
What? Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I was not knowing that. So, Tiki. Okay, quickly, let me go over the show in general. We're going to be talking overall about President Trump's first 6 months in office. And it shouldn't shock you that I've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about that. And also many different things as well. So we're going to be like scattering sperm all over the place here. Something happened before the show, about an hour and a half or 2 hours before the show. And it's kind of on the order of this. It's like, okay, Ozzy Osbourne was the dude. He was my man. And then we had Malcolm Jamal Warner pass away at 54. Ozzy passed away Tuesday at 76. Malcolm Jamal Warner passed away. He drowned in Costa Rica, I think, at 54. And then just today, Hulk Hogan passed away at 71. Now, I get it with Hulk Hogan, and for fuck's sake, sadly, I get it with regard to Ozzy Osbourne. Like I said last Tuesday, I saw Black Sabbath 3 times. Jersey Joe and I were talking about that earlier, and I had seen Randy Rhoads, Rob Daisley, Lee Kerslake, and Ozzy during the Diary of a Madman tour. I think I was talking to Jersey Joe. I didn't believe Randy Rhoads was just a little bitty guy. He wasn't very big, but he had a great sound. Well, when Sean comes back, we're going to be talking about this. There was a gentleman that I've had on the show probably, by the way, 70 people watching live right now. Thank you very much. And the draw is not me. It's all of you guys. So thanks to all of you guys, like Jeremy Hansen right below and Jersey Joe right over here. Look, I got my finger correctly pointed, and Rowdy Rick down here. So thanks to you guys.
Where that finger's been.
You do not in the vodka. Kettle One. Anyway, I don't drink on the show. I just want you guys to know that. Tequila and me, no bueno.
No.
So
rum.
It'll be a good show. It'll be an interesting show, but I was kind of gobsmacked about an hour and a half ago. This gentleman passed away, and he was on SHR for quite a number of years. Like I say, I had Jeff Dunitz on my show. I stopped counting because I had to go back so far, almost to 20. I started 2017, and I had gotten back to 2019, and I stopped counting at about 30, 35. So he had been on the show a whole bunch of times. But he began with SHR. He lived in New York, worked and wrote for a whole bunch of different places. I have some material from Jeff queued up, and we'll go there when Sean comes here, because I'm not even sure Sean is doing something else right now. I'm not even sure that Sean knows that Jeff Dunn has passed away. So this might be kind of a smack in the face to Sean Lewis. He was a good friend. He lived all the way across the nation. Sean and I, for a time, were in Sacramento in the SHR Media studios in downtown Sacramento. And Jeff used to have his own show on SHR. I think it was every Wednesday night, Friday night, something like that. And Jeff was truly a mensch. Jeff, however, was kind of like me in terms of not really the greatest techno guy in the world, but no one is as bad as Sackheads Clint. All right, microphone. Let's go up a little bit. You're down a little bit too much for me. Tighten that bad boy up. And that, okay, that's better.
Giggity goo.
That's what I'm saying. 80 people watching live right now. Thanks to everybody. Oh, God dang, I am backed up on comments. Holy crap. It's like, no wonder my stomach's not feeling good right now. Let's get to some comments. Rick Robinson is here. Canada Heavy Hall. The Phantom is here. Jersey Joe is here. I can't touch that. Okay, can't touch this. Do. Cosmic Bard is here. Mike Pasqua is here. Hello, good to see you. Mission Ready Men is here. Comic Artist is here. And I think I've gotten through everyone. Mike Pasqua says, yes, indeed. Kettle One right here. Not a tequila guy. Tequila and me, no bueno. It's like drink too much vodka and you vomit. No, with tequila and me, it's not a good thing at all.
1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor.
Oh, fuck yeah. 0.5. Jeff was a great guy, and I don't think Jeff would mind it if I started out the show with this. Jeff had a great sense of humor.
Breaking news tonight, the president has deported the cast of The View. Their show will be replaced by 4 hours of screaming goat videos. Not much of a difference there.
But The View is on hiatus, or so they say. And then, of course, this never happened. Tonight, and a whole bunch of other things as well. What do I have? I think I have something else up. Right. Here's video of why I suspect one of the major reasons that Terry Bollea passed away. You guys remember this? Andre the Giant.
We're seeing what this guy is really made of. What he is. The greatest professional athlete in the world today. Look at this. He's on fire. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Home dropping a big leg. Over for the cover. It's over.
Okay, Andre the Giant, if you guys recall, was about 7'1", right around there, 560 pounds.
Yeah, I was gonna say 550, 560, somewhere in there. So that's like insane.
And the other thing is, if you'd been through half the crap that Ozzy Osbourne has been through, or Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea, you would have issues too. Hulk Hogan was at his peak, 6'7", I think, right around in there, about 300 pounds. He had all sorts of health problems, mostly with his back. Of course, obviously, heavyweight training, all the jolting, all the slapping. He had huge back problems. He was 6'7", but revealed that those days, most recently this past year, he was about 6'4". He lost 3 inches in terms of his back surgery. He went through spinal fusion, I think, in 2010. Same thing happened to Ozzy Osbourne. He had an ATV crash on his property in 2003. He died on the gurney. They had to bring him back. He had rods up his spine. He had problems with his neck, just like Hulk Hogan. So it's kind of amazing that these people are still here.
Well, it's ironic. What actually caused a lot of his back issues was that leg drop. Jumping and landing on his butt like that would cause compression of the spine.
I thought it was Bubba the Love Sponge's wife.
You think it'd be more than trying to slam a dude that's like 560 pounds, but yeah, you're right. It was the leg drops.
Well, yeah, he did have some marital stuff going on too, didn't he, Jeremy?
And Bubba the Love Sponge actually told his wife to go do that with Hulk Hogan. That was the weird part. There's like some hipster stuff going on there, but I guess she's a looker. I don't know what she looks like, but they couldn't have helped it. No.
Yeah. So I have to ask, who else? Okay. Chuck Mangione passed away.
Yep.
Also, and Connie Francis, who's not going to mean anything to you guys, but I had the hots for her in the 60s and whatnot. So if you look up Connie Francis,
the 1860s.
Yes. But listen, at the time, though, there were wheels Okay. And we've gone full circle. This is very interesting in terms of wheels. We have gone full circle from Conestoga wagon wheels. And now everybody wants like 27-inch wheels with about 2 inches of tread on the wheels. So we have gone full circle. So you get the same exquisite ride that you got from an 1800s Conestoga wagon. That is so weird.
If anybody would know, you would. So there's that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. 150 people watching live right now. Thanks to everybody here right now. I have to ask you guys, if I had the weird voice to do it, it'd be something similar to, what the hell is up with this?
You were born a man and you will die a man. That's the point I'm making. So give us a sample. I'll send my doctors to take your blood. Figure it out real quick, however you want to go about this. Hey, how about just giving us some pictures again of you growing up, raising your children? That would be fine. For whatever reason, to phone, by the way, like I said, we'll get to the bottom of it. Right. That is what Discovery is for. I'm going to ask a lot of questions. You're probably hoping,
So what the hell is up with Candace Owens? It's like she disappeared off the face of the earth for a while. I used to be a fan of Candace Owens. There was at one particular time when she just excoriated the shit out of Congress talking about women in front of women. And that was one of those video things where I went, yeah, that was fabulous. And it's like she dropped off the radar screen. Two people that I was kind of sort of ambiguous about, dropped off the radar screen, never saw them again. One was Candace Owen. Don't know why. Maybe you guys can tell me. And the other one was Ann Coulter. I used to like some of the stuff that Ann Coulter used to say.
Skeletor. Oh, wait.
Well, she's being sued by Macron.
So, yeah. So where did this, you guys, maybe you can tell me, maybe you have your fingers on the pulse of stuff. Well, you do much more than I, in terms of what the fuck happened to her. Where did she go? Where did this come from? I mean, if this is the hill upon which you wish to die over some Skeletor-looking chick, like you said,
Jewish stance didn't help her.
Yeah, I was gonna say she fell down the Jewish rabbit hole and never came back the same. It was kind of bad.
Ann Coulter went anti-Trump.
Skeletor.
You're like phasing in and out, right?
Yeah, I know. I can't help it.
He's phasing out of reality.
The chair's not set up right, and like I said, my workspace is a mess, so I'm having to use the virtual background. I hate it, but it'll be all right.
So literally, why is this thing still?
Stroke it a little bit.
Damnation. Get up there.
Whisper in its ear.
Hello, I love you very much. Would you be nice to me?
How you do it?
What the hell? So what happened? Literally, what happened to Candace Owens? I have not seen her involved in politics. Apparently, you said she made some kind of anti-Jewish.
She went on like a whole. She went like on a whole Shapiro rant, and then just kind of went nuts. And it was painful to watch. But this is one of the reasons why, as somebody who's been doing this for a long time, I keep telling everybody, look, just because a young kid comes in and starts saying all the right stuff, pay attention, because it doesn't always mean what you think it means. Because what happened was she was starting to lose traction. So she went as far to one side as she could to try to hang on to the traction. And the next thing she knew, she was well out over her skis. And that's why you have probably, I've been hearing about her still, but that's only because I work for places where we have to talk about her. And I'm like, I don't want to anymore. But yeah, she went full anti-Semite, and it was bad. Like she picked I remember she went on like an X feud with like Shapiro or something, and then got in trouble with a bunch of folks and tried to get out of a contract and all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
She also was mad about the DEI. She wanted to keep some of the DEI stuff going that Trump wanted to get rid of. So she went anti-Trump for quite a long time too.
Bad times for doing that kind of stuff. Sean is still not here. I may go down to the bottom of the hour, and in the process, while I'm doing a break, I'm going to see what I can do with this microphone. It wasn't acting up this way on Tuesday, And either I'm sitting taller or I've taken my fusion rods out of my back or something like that, unlike Hulk Hogan and sadly Ozzy Osbourne. Hey, did you guys...
Everybody's microphones can occasionally have performance issues, sir. Don't be so hateful.
Apparently, that's very true.
That's why I got the Shure microphone, because it's got the locks on it, locks it in place.
That's not the only reason you have the Shure microphone.
Well, and
not short, sure.
Jeff would be firmly behind you with the locks, and then he would throw in some bagels as well, because that was just his nature, if you will. I have to put this up. I found all the stupid shit. You know, I have never heard anything from Candace Owens. All of a sudden I found that. And then all of a sudden I found this. It's like the internet is so weird. It's such a wonderful source of crazy shit. This is one of them. USA Today suggests rioters should only burn cars in an environmentally responsible fashion.
How does one do that exactly, though?
Where do people get this shit as to something that's important? Now, this is a little dated. It's July. What is today? Oh, yeah. July 24th. It's July 24th, the year of our Lord 2025. I should have told everybody. Now I have to bend down real low to my stupid microphone. Boy, it's 8:27 p.m. Pacific. It is 10:27 Central, and it is 11:27 Eastern. Like, this stuff is like, where do people find this stupid crap? And the other thing that I'm not going to read this tonight. I may do it next week. And I'm going to try to see if I can get Kurt Schlichter back on. He came to the show about 5 or 6 times back before I moved. And the final question for everybody here right now, before we get into the passing of Jeff Dunetz, and or if Sean comes and jumps into the show, because I'm going to get into Jeff in any event. But I think Sean would have some really important, really insightful stories about Jeff. Not the least of which is technological prowess, unlike me. But the question for everybody is from Kurt Schlichter, who's written a big series of dystopian books about the United States of America and how they split essentially into 2 countries, red states, blue states. And so the question to all you guys is a civil war, is it even on the corner? Is it around the corner? Is it inevitable? Or is it something like, hey, don't go there. Wishful thinking. Don't make that happen. Don't think about making it happen. Are we on the cusp, or is it just something we ought not to talk about?
I think we're right there on it. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't want to see it. In my youth, I would have been calling for it. I'll admit that in my youth, but I don't want to see that for my daughter. I don't want her to have to live through that. And I've said it on my show plenty of times. I don't know if we can get back to where we were. I don't know if we can settle the difference that has been going on for like the last decade. Because instead of getting anywhere better, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And the differences keep growing. And nobody wants to give an inch. So we're sort of in the Civil War now without the I know there's some violence going on, but not kind of like a war type violence.
Well, on the other hand, should we give an inch? Rick, you have any thoughts before the break?
Well, so I mean, and this is the thing that I've been talking about for a while, because one of the folks that started doing this around the same time that I did, and then managed to catch some more wind in his sails, is Jesse Kelly, and he has been calling for an amicable national divorce now for about a decade or so. I think that might be the only way that we avoid a civil war at this point, because everybody does it. Most of the right now paints anybody who's leftist as the enemy. The leftists paint the people that lean to the right as the enemy. And in some cases, they're not wrong. I mean, look at everything that's been coming out over the last few days, even though I've barely been able to keep up. But at the same time, when those of us that are everyday rank and file Americans are looking at people just because they vote differently than us and wanting to basically, not invite them to holidays, not talk to them at all, be as distant from them as possible, or just basically call them stupid because whatever flavor of news we have or that we get is different than theirs. Then I don't, it's like Joe said a second ago, I don't know how we come back from this at this point. The divisions are so far entrenched. The only thing that gives me a little bit of hope, if we can hang on long enough, is the younger Gen Z folks seem to be trending really, really conservative at this point because they're getting tired of watching everybody live in mom's basement. So that may help avoid it, but not with, basically, Angst Inc. or whatever the hell you want to call them, basically going out and stirring up stuff and paying people to cause as much strife as they can. I don't know how we get away from that, because once that starts happening, everybody just thinks, oh, that's it. That's the side that I want to be on, because they're the ones out in the streets and they're doing this and they're doing that. Nobody realizes that most of those people have answered a Craigslist ad and they're doing it for money.
Jeremy Hansen, any thoughts on this before we hit the break, sir?
Yeah, I got a little bit different view of it. The tree of liberty needs to be watered with the blood of tyrants, and we need to fucking purge in this country. We need to get rid of about half of these people that steal, rape, defile, rip apart, hurt other Americans, and you can't change them. You can't live with them. It's like trying to live with cancer. So, and I truly, I have really changed in the last couple of months just watching my country and watching what's going on. I don't want to see innocent people get killed, but you know what? We've been hanging on to this for 250 years, and we fought other countries and everybody at least wanted to make America better. Now we have half the country that doesn't want to make America better. They want to completely leave America, to, get rid of America. And you can't have that in our society and be fruitful.
And if I'm not mistaken, there are some things that occurred to or with you recently that would tend to lead you to this conclusion, if I'm not mistaken. Folks, that's Jeremy Hansen. Rick Robinson above that, Jersey Joe above that. I'm BZ. I'll be right back.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wanderer is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life. the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. I'm BZ. These are all my friends. Let me clear the decks right now and start being pointylicious over here. On the right, we got Jersey Joe, the host of the Reaver of Common Sense. Down, can I crank my finger down there? Yeah, there we go. There's Jeremy Hansen down below, and over down at the bottom right, circle gets the square, is Rowdy Rick. Thanks to everybody for being here tonight. I hear rumors of the fact that Sean Lewis may be here. He is otherwise doing very important familial, family kind of important stuff, otherwise known as important stuff that the family wants to do, which is why it's called familial family stuff. Let's go back here just for a second. A lot of what occurs, a lot of what creates thoughts within individuals is how, say, government or how you perceive government as treating you. My personal opinion is, and it should shock nobody, I will say what I wish whenever I wish. And if YouTube, Facebook, any of the social media parasites around here don't care for it, they can take a big cup of shut the fuck up, because I predominantly don't care. And, you know, I'm not out here for likes. I'm not out here to monetize anything. Although there is some news down below. Jersey Joe, tell us about a little SHR tidbit that just came in terms of YouTube, if you will.
We now have super chats.
Okay, what's a super chat? I am not aware.
Super chat is where you can donate however much you want, and you get a highlighted comment.
Okay.
In YouTube chat.
And what is the significance of that? Oh, wait. The light bulb may have just illuminated above my head, although you can't see it. I've been to podcasts that are so popular that if you look at the chat page and you look at the roll, the shit is just scrolling up and down, and you can't fucking read it. If you input something into that chat, by the time you hit enter, it's gone.
Yeah.
So is that what you're talking about? That somehow if you do that, then it grabs and secures?
Well, there's another option when you go up kind of like on your chat, and it's like top chat, live chat. Well, there's another one right below it now that we have. It's called fan funding, and it has the super chat, super stickers, and all that. And we're able to go to that and pull up just the comments of people who donate to have their comments highlighted. I guess that's the best way to say it.
Okay. All righty. Well, anyway, we are kind of maybe sort of kind of getting monetized. But I don't have a paywall. Nobody else has a paywall here. The monetization is not the big gig that I'm looked at. That I'm lucky enough to have had a sufficiently good career that I don't have to worry about it at this point, which is why I will say any damn thing that I want. In my opinion, however, we should have gone national 210 over 190. I don't know, a decade, 2 decades ago. We created a new nation over circumstances that were infinitely less egregious than what is stepping on our necks collectively in the United States of America. And so how we look at government is, I believe, how we as individuals and or collectively are treated. And you got some comments, Jeremy Hansen in chat, saying something similar to, you know, I wish you'd come out of your shell someday and just tell us what you really mean. But my guess is that's been stuck in the oven and you've had your ass basted for quite some time. So my guess would be you have some experiences or some thoughts on that matter, Jeremy Hansen.
I do. You know, I moved down here to a Republican state in Missouri. And when I first came down here, I thought, man, this is awesome. Low taxes, you know, good jobs, good, wholesome people. And what a sham. You know, we've got a Republican House. We've got a Republican Senate. I've got a Republican governor. He ran on, I'm going to cut taxes. I got a email the other day, and like the state senator send me stuff before it goes out to the public. And they're going to raise our property tax. They're going to raise our personal property tax. They're changing around a bunch of rules. They did things like took the marijuana tax, and they don't let counties and cities double stack it anymore. They just went from like 11% to 30% and then put it in a fund. You know, so I see all these different ways that the people are getting screwed. And then, unfortunately, in Springfield, Missouri, we have a lot of these California rejects, okay, that come up here.
Imagine the fuck out of that.
And what's happening is these NGOs are paying to send these people to Springfield to go to places to get clean, okay? And don't get me wrong. I have known a lot of people that have had problems in their lives, and I'm very empathetic to those situations. But I see these people, and they are a different breed of people. These aren't people that were down in their luck and, you know, got addicted to heroin or something. These are low-life loser cocksuckers that are just there to steal and beg and, you know, borrow without giving back. I don't know how to say it. I'll give you an example. If you leave my house, and I don't live in a bad neighborhood, right now it's 10:45 here, you will see 20 homeless people within a mile from my home. Okay. And they'll be sleeping in the ditches. They'll be taking, I watched two of them walking down the street the other day with city generators, pulling them behind them, going into the woods, you know. We had on the other side of town last night, we had 450 homeless, and not all of them are drug addicts, but most of them are, because there's help around here for the ones that will try to stay clean. So there was 450, and their whole encampment inside this this woods started burning down. So they were all standing in the road, and like cars are zipping by, cops. They use a tremendous amount of resources. And those are the fucking people that are like, Trump's bad, Trump's terrible, Trump's bad. And I see it, they're getting bigger and they're getting bigger. They're like a cancerous tumor that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I live in a Republican state, and guess what? They will not cut them out. There's money. There's NGOs that are paying money to get them here. And I don't know. I'm so disgusted. I came in the other night because you'll think this is funny. And there's a couple guys talking to themselves. One guy's like playing with a real sword. This is 3:00 in the morning at a real sword. And the other guy is lifting his shirt up, picking the scabs off of his stomach and eating them. As I'm sitting there at the stoplight, you know, I don't know what they were high on, fentanyl, meth, who knows, you know, probably a mixture of both. And I've had my stuff stolen here a lot of times. There was a shootout behind my house in an elderly, behind where I live. It's a 55 and older retirement area. And a Cadillac and a couple dudes and an F-150. The guy like drives up on the road behind my house, jumps out with his gun. Two more guys come down, their guns waving out, and I'm effing going to do this and effing going to do that. Well, they did. All sides shot. And the cops were there for about 10 minutes and left. If you have your car stolen in Springfield, Missouri, you can't call the cops because that's not an emergency. So what you do is you get online, and you can't do it if it's not online. You have to get online, you have to fill out a report, and then you send that in, and then they categorize it. And then how serious it is, then they will send a cop out there afterwards. It's just asinine to me. And it's I was listening to Mr. Jersey over there say that, he didn't want his daughter to go through that. And man, I'm telling you, I don't either. But I see what's happening with us doing nothing and trying to get along. And it might be worse than purging these bastards out of there completely. And I know that sounds really, really, really radical, but we got to take ourselves back to, the revolution when they said, you know what? They want to charge us 3% more. And I was looking at the effective tax rate in some of our states the other day, and the effective tax rate is like 38% of your income some way goes to taxes. And back then it was 1.4 and they were going to raise it to 3. And they're like, we're willing to die to keep it under 5%. And here we sit at 38%. It kind of makes me feel weak as an American.
Can I jump in real quick, BG?
Yeah, please.
I just want to point out, Mike, thank you very much. That's our first super chat.
That's right. That deserves the official, as I reach for it.
I didn't want to interrupt Jeremy on his.
No, I'm just ranting.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't. I guess, and I'm gonna fuck the quote up. I would have rather have saw if anything like that was going to happen in my time. I don't want to see it happen to my daughter. I don't want my daughter to have to grow up in a war zone. You know what I mean? But yeah, our country is fucked up right now, and there's a lot of shit that ain't right. And I'm not at all disagreeing with what you said. I'm just afraid to see what a war-torn America would look like and to have my daughter in that. And Sean, you missed it. You missed our first super chat.
If there must be war,
Dang it.
If there must be war, let it be in my time so that my children know peace.
Yes, that's Thomas Paine. I love that quote.
Okay.
I didn't want to butcher it.
And I agree.
Let me put this up as well.
My face is way too big now that I fixed my camera. Put me back over in the corner, please.
So you're right. And I want to feature this. Mike, thank you ever so kindly. You are our first #1 dude for a donation to SHR. And that's kind of
a super chat.
Yes. And that's kind of a lead in for this. And you were gone. I don't know if you happen to see it, Sean, and thanks for being here tonight. But our really good friend passed away today.
Yeah.
And that was Jeff Dunitz. And
heartbroken, honestly.
Breitbart had a great article just on him. And a lot of people, I wrote something to Ed Morrissey. And a lot of people, one of the things that I said was, I put Jeff Dunitz kind of in the same column in which I placed Charles Krauthammer. And what I mean by that is, number one, sadly, too many people don't know, never met, or ever read anything by Jeff Dunitz.
Agreed.
Charles Krauthammer was very amenable, very intelligent, quick-witted, and he believed in equanimity. He was not as harsh, and Jeff certainly was not as harsh as I am, and I will be the first to admit it. And there are times and places where I probably wouldn't be fitting in very much. And Jeff was just one of those, I'll say it this way. Then, Sean, I'd like you to weigh in because Jeff was on SHR for quite some time. And we, Sean and Joe and Jeremy and Rick, we were mentioned in another article that he was with us as SHR. And what I said essentially to Ed Morrissey, who's in charge of hotair.com, was Jeff was the quintessential wonderful guy. He was humane, which is something I am not occasionally. He is kind-hearted. He was scholarly. He had a great sense of humor. Like I said before you got here, Sean, I had him on the show. We had him on the show. I personally had him on the show probably 30 or 40 times. And you probably had him on the show at least that. Plus, he had his own show on SHR. He was the dude that I would go to if I wanted to have some kind of a comment on Israel or the Middle East or New York or just politics in general. He could explain shit in a way that even a moron like myself could understand. And sometimes people say in an obituary or after someone passes, you'll hear kind of the printed words roll out that you hear with everyone. But like when people say that an individual was kind or they were gracious, they're just words. To my way of thinking, with Jeff, he embodied all of that. And sometimes we say, we are diminished with, name someone. We are diminished with their passing. And I'm smart enough to realize that's not what the fuck people are going to talk about with me. But with Jeff, yes, we are diminished by his passing. And like I said, I compared him to Charles Krauthammer. He was a great intellect, very kind, and I miss him already. Let me go over here. This is what Ed Morrissey wrote from Hot Air. And I knew that Ed and Jeff were good friends, but I didn't know that they were as close as this. And so Ed wrote a very nice article about Jeff Dunitz. Ed put this in the article, and it said, Jeff's last message to me was to send me this picture, which is pure Jeff. Jewish
100%. 100% Jeff.
Okay. I find that amusing.
Jeff had two amazing qualities. First of all, we still have his shows up if you go to Spreaker, and we will never take them down because Jeff was special on levels that I can't even begin to explain. Jeff had the amazing ability of teaching you something without you feeling stupid, and he knew so much. There wasn't a single episode where I was not educated about something that I didn't know. Like you said, we spent a lot of time with Jeff. The other amazing skill he had is you felt like you've known him forever after talking to him for 5 minutes. He was just so warm and gracious, and he had that laugh that is just, I mean, right now I can hear it. It was just so infectious. And he was a bulldog in his writing. He was unbelievably strong in how he wrote and what he wrote about. He believed everything that he wrote. He never did anything for clicks or drama or anything like that. What you saw was Jeff. He was also one of the early bloggers in the world. I mean, early bloggers. Jeff was around.
Yep, yeah, that's where I met him.
Blogs were blogs. And this past election, and we knew Jeff had health issues, he was trying to get on the air with us. He was like trying to push himself beyond to join into the elections because he loved politics. He loved writing about it. He loved dealing with it. He loved sharing and educating about history and educating about, Israel. And he was amazing. And that is an understatement. And it's a true loss to the movement. It's a true loss to those of us who were friends with him. He brought a level of snark that was always lighthearted.
Yep.
And it was never cruel and it was never mean. I mean, he'd be direct, he'd be forthcoming. He would never, ever, ever hold back, but he never was mean about it. He was always happy. always in a good mood. And even when something, and I can remember having him on when Israel was involved in engagement with Hamas years ago.
Right.
All of that. And even through all of that, when you knew he was stressed, his relatives were over there, friends of his were over there, like he never let it peep through. He was always lighthearted. He was always easy, direct, poignant, articulated, yes, but it was always from a good place. He was one of the good ones, and I know that phrase gets thrown out so often, but I truly believe that about Jeff. And it's just a shame. We loved having him when he was doing his show. He was a godsend, to say the least. And my heart breaks for his family, and it breaks for us too, because he was even though he wasn't broadcasting with us still, he was still a great part of the SHR family, especially the early SHR family. He was one of the first extra shows that we brought in when we were starting to expand a little bit. And for me, when I finally met him and looked him up and all this other stuff and realized who he was, for him to be gracious to give what was at the time, especially a tiny unknown network, the right to broadcast his show, and that he was so unbelievably gracious with his time with us, is just, I could go all night about a wonderful person Jeff was, and it's a tragedy.
Well, he predated me.
Mm-hmm.
He was way before me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to SHR. I retired in 2016. I didn't have a show until January of 2017. But Jeff predated me, if I'm not mistaken, by at least a year.
I think longer than that.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was at least 2 years. It was after Joe. Joe was our first official add to SHR as we know it. And then, we had Ken, and with that, right around that same time that we started playing Ken's show is when we met with Jeff. And Jeff actually approached us and said, "Hey, I want to do a show."
You actually had two other people before me. There was two guys that did like a news segment.
They were after you, actually.
I thought they were before me.
No, they were after you. They were after you.
Then we had Lonnie Poindexter. Then we had Ralph Chittims. We had Melanie Colette.
Yeah, we also Danny Butcher, High Plains Pundit.
Yep, and then we had Mike and Shannon in the morning.
Shannon, yep.
So
I just want to point out, you said a couple of words. That's the only time you're ever going to be able to say that. That can go all night.
I wasn't gonna say it because he was trying to be solemn, but yeah, same thing ran through my head. I was like, that's a sentence he can't usually say. So,
but I'm lucky if I can get up past 10. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so what you're saying is you have an issue, kind of like BZ's microphone right now.
Yeah, he was a little late on that, but that's okay.
He's got limp mic stand.
Let's say, as I said before, my mic stand here did not have priapism. So, priapism.
Well, your age, it's not totally uncommon.
Something like that.
4 out of 5, I think.
Yeah. Then I made a terrible reference to Blue Chew, but then what the fuck do I know? Over.
Yeah, we're not even getting paid by them, so don't say it.
That's right. Okay.
Did you see the Phantom's asking you a question, Sean?
If your mic's having issues, is that failure to pod? Is that what that is?
Oh, nice. Nice. So, yeah, the Phantom has a question for you, Sean, and she says, "Okay, dude, how you doing?"
75%. I think that's a fair assessment. For those who don't know, I put it out on X today. I was in the ER yesterday with dehydration, which is funny because I honestly consume probably close to 100 ounces of water a day. Like,
as do we all.
It's unbelievable, but you get a little virus and things start going out of whack, and that's what it was. They think it's a little virus. No, not like you have, Joe. This is a totally different virus.
No, that's syphilis. That shot of penicillin. I'm good to go.
We all know.
Look,
we all know
just because you all have it doesn't mean everybody does, Joe. You got to remember that. That's not the first virus people think of.
There was too much blood in your alcohol stream. That's why you went to the ER.
Well, and that's the funny part. I think I said that to everybody is I'm trying to drop some weight, so I haven't been drinking hardly at all. So it's not even that. No, my blood sugar was through the roof. My red blood cells were down. Like there was a whole bunch of out of whack. Cardiac, everything was fine. My blood pressure was through the roof. And it's amazing how 2 bags of saline, all of a sudden, everything went back to normal. And I was thankful and gracious to the doctors. They were awesome. But yeah, and the best they can figure is I got some sort of little virus that's ticking around there somewhere that just, I had cold sweats the other night, but I honestly thought my room was hot. It was just one of those, like, that was what I chalked it up to. I woke up sweating. I'm like, man, it must be hot in here. And I just turned my fan right on me and went back to sleep. Didn't think much of it. And yeah, so not a fan of doctors and such like that, of having to go. But as I've said before, when it's time, it's time. And I was told directly that if I didn't bring myself in, or I had a friend drive me, but if I didn't walk in, I probably would have been carried in later in the day, because I was forgetting things. I was having a hard time talking, which I'm sure that's a shock to everybody. I was spacing out, blurry, like it was rough. I forgot things that I did earlier in the day. It was a very weird moment. Legitimately, I thought it was the big one. I thought I was just going down. Like I was just like, man. I had to text my friend and tell him which buckets to throw away out of my closet.
It's the big one.
Burn the computer.
What was your blood sugar?
Clear my history.
My blood sugar was actually 288.
Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
this is me. This is me right now. Oh, I don't know.
No kidding.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. I've been fighting with it for like 3 weeks, trying to get it under control, and I'll be at 130. That's as low as I go, is 130, and then I'll eat one time and I'll be up to 300, 350.
Do you have any? And you don't have to answer the question. Do you have any? Are you diabetic?
I'm diabetic. I take 36 units of Lantus a night.
Okay.
Get up, walk around. That's one thing though. If you're pre-diabetic or diabetic and you get dehydrated like that, your body starts doing really, really funny things.
Well, and I'm not pre-diabetic. Well, I mean, I guess I am pre-diabetic to a point, but I just got checked in May. My diabetes runs in my family, so I check every year whether I need it or not, and I was fine. And then after I got the first bag of saline, it was down to 150. And for those who don't know, and I'm not an expert on this is how it was explained to me. If you get a little virus, it can cause your blood sugar to spike. Mm-hmm. Viruses can do that. And I'm sure, Jeremy, when your blood sugar spikes, your body says, hey, we need to get rid of this. And usually you do that through urination. What happened was I was not urinating more frequently, but probably more intensively. There was probably an excessive amount or further. And who pays attention to that, right? Usually you're just waiting to finish and walk away from the toilet. You're not counting the seconds that you take a squirt.
I heard you hit the cat.
Wait, what?
I was sandblasting. No, so, and then it starts the cycle. You start getting dehydrated. So you start drinking more water. Everything just, you just can't keep up. So it starts this horrible cycle because the virus is just kicking it off, is how it was explained to me. And then by the second bag, my blood sugar was down to 110. My blood pressure went back to normal. I mean, my blood pressure, I was 170 over 100.
Oh, that's low for me. Shit.
Well,
you're a piker.
You're from what I understand, and what it was explained to me from a critical care cardiac nurse, was when you start riding 100 on your diastolic, on your bottom number, you can start hallucinating. You can start really getting jacked up because your blood pressure is so high, it's just screwing with everything. And it was amazing. I was telling this tonight. I remember going to the ER. I remember like trying to write. I was shaking like a twig. And then I remember a little bit of the conversation with the doctor, and I remember cutting a joke with the nurse who was taking my EKG that I apologized when I had to take my shirt off. And she said, it's okay. You actually don't smell. So this is one of my better trips. And then all of a sudden, like I was in the room with the other patients getting an IV, and I remember the IV getting put in, but I don't remember walking into that room, and I don't remember sitting down in that room. Like I was just on a different planet.
Yep.
So I don't need to do drugs. Apparently I just need a small virus and I'm off on a trip, man.
hallucinating, man.
I had
Hallucinating. That's how I got this job in the first place.
Right.
We're gonna have to take a
I
break.
had it with my
And,
sugar.
I want to hang on one second. I got to take a break because I really do have to do I'm a Nation, He's a Nation, You're a Nation. So remember what Roger Ramjet said. He said, gosh, it's sure hot. I guess it's from the heat.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, one man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRN You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right. You can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic women who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And we're back. It's the second hour of the show, and I have got some stellar individuals on tonight. Look, up in the sky, it's stellar people, and I have them all gathered within me and in front of me right now. Let's take...
None of us are within you, bro.
Well, okay, but the stars are within your reach. You can reach right up there and then pull them down. So anyway, tonight, let me show. I have, let's see. There we go. You can't see him right now because I can't take my little logo down. But that
There it is. Go to your right.
Jersey Joe. He's squeezing in right there, and then pull your fat finger back, mother. There's Jeremy Hansen, and there is Sean Lewis, and there is Rick Robinson. Great individuals. Let me put this up on the screen so that you can read some of his stuff. I met over the internet, met Jeff Dunitz in 2004. And that's when I had first assembled and put up my blog, Bloviating Zeppelin, which was first on Blogspot. I think he was on Blogspot first. And then he followed me, or whatever the hell it is that you used to do with blogs back then. And I can remember distinctly my first thought was, wow, this guy who has a really professional looking blog, and he's a writer, and he's a really cool dude, and I like his articles, and he followed me. Oh my God. And then I don't know if you guys remember blogs, but there would be, I had a list to the side called My Usual Suspects, where if I liked you, I would feature your blog over on the right-hand side. And he put, makes me cry, he put Bloviating Zeppelin up in his blog there early. So I've known Jeff since 2004. And if anybody has any funny stories, wait, I do. By the way, if you want to read his stuff, and I'm not, everything is too new. I'm not sure if they're going to continue his website or not. He, by this time, had a couple of writers with him who were filling in stories because Jeff had Jeff had a bad back. Jeff had either neck surgery and or brain surgery from which he had to recover. He had any number of medical issues, and time after time, dude came back every time. The last time I had him on the show was January. But I will say this, and perhaps Sean will weigh in. Sean knows very well that when I carp about being a techno-Luddite, well, I am. And then the only one that I know, as I indicated in the first hour, that's worse is Sackhead's Clint. That's a story, that's a passel of novels for another day. But
that's at least 3 encyclopedia fulls. Right,
exactly.
About how bad he was.
Back when you could print the Britannica. And Jeff was kind of technically challenged like I was, if I'm not mistaken. And then I used you for tech support. And then I think Jeff also used you for tech support,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, Jeff, when we were first learning, and Joe and BZ will remember this, and actually Rick will remember this because I know he used much of the same software back in the day. We used this thing to link in our audio to our video called, we were just talking about today, BZ,
XSplit, right.
And XSplit, when it worked, was fantastic. When it didn't work, it was... Oh, it was a dumpster fire. I mean, to say the very least. And the funny thing about XSplit was, like BZ pointed out today, it updated on a regular basis.
That fucker would interrupt almost every one of my shows.
And when it updated, it changed a setting whether you liked it or not. It just did what it did. Like, it had its own little personality and it had its own emotion about it. And you had to then try to figure out what changed. So with BZ, because I was here in the studio with him, I could walk him through it. With Jeff, there was distance. We were usually on the phone, and he was usually screaming at the computer while I was trying to help him fix it. So you have this loud, vivacious Jewish man who is very, very angry at technology.
He was.
And you don't know if he was yelling at you or yelling at the technology because he was just fuming at certain times. And then afterwards, he'd be like, damn it, this damn thing just, well, oh, look, I got it. Like, it would just completely turn off. It was like, oh, no, I finally figured it out. So that was twice a month. He was on my regular phone calls for tech support and I had a few different hosts who used to do that. And I would know as soon as I saw Jeff's phone number come up, it would say, Jeff, Dunnett's SHR and lid. And I'd go, uh-oh, there must have been an update to XSplit.
Shit. I know exactly what that is and what that
Sean.
represents.
What was that piece that we had to plug in? It was used for guitars mostly.
Oh yeah, oh gosh, iRig.
iRig. Yes, the iRig. I remember that.
And you had to plug that to go into a USB so you could go from a mic to a USB. I mean, we might as well be sitting there saying back in my day right now, because
back in my day,
all of us on here right now, all of us started broadcasting when podcast was first started.
Dude, my first show was on Blog Talk Radio. That should tell you something.
Yeah, mine was too, actually, back in the day. And one of the things that was amazing about it back then is there was all of these different programs that eventually, especially when you made the jump to video, when you were just doing audio, it was a little bit easier to go live. When you made the jump to video,
that was a pain in the ass.
You had 5 different programs. You had XSplit. You had to work the iRig, which had its own little bootstrap type of software you could go in and manipulate. Strap on. You had XSplit. And then there was another program that you had to have, and I can't remember the name of it, for the video to talk to XSplit, and it was just a nightmare. So
and
for
the
those
settings on the mixer that you had to have for the iRig to even work,
to even talk to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Holy.
That's one of the reasons why it took us so long to get into video, because I started trying to figure that out. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do my audio stuff and use my little voice meter that makes all the audio stuff talk to each other, because it's free and it's easy and I don't have a stroke as much. Because I had my own version of Jeff. I had a JD who was also a technical Luddite. And anytime I tried to get him to figure out voice meter, same thing, dude. He would be like screaming, yelling. I didn't know if he was yelling at me. I didn't know if he was yelling about the situation. I didn't know if he was yelling at the technology. And then he'd get it to work and it would just go away. It's like, I got it.
Yeah, like it was fine.
He's like happy as a clam because he figured it out. And then 5 minutes later, he'd be calling, I don't have it anymore.
Well, and then you had so for me, like I said, the guys in the studio, Clint and BZ, it was okay because I was here so I could fix it in place. Joe wasn't bad because Joe is not technologically defunct like some of the other people is. But the thing was, if something updated, and I'd usually message Joe and say, hey, just so you know, this program changes, what you got to do. And then he would get it squared away. So I still had to go out. But then I had Jeff, Shannon and Mike had a hard time with the technology. A couple other people who wonderful people, but so my phone would just ring all the time. And that didn't include when I would, for those who don't know Dan Butcher from High Plains Pundit, Dan's got a vicious sense of humor. So he and I used to text all the time too. And he would say, hey, what's going on? I'd be like, oh, I'm trying to help Jeff with X, Y, and Z and the technology, and it's just driving me crazy, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden he'd call and intentionally interrupt me while I was trying to figure out what I was doing with Jeff, and not to be mean, because it was funny. And then he would be tangenting about something.
He was doing it to be mean. Come on.
Oh, well, to be mean, but not in a hateful way, just in a funny sort of way. And he knew if I was having trouble getting certain hosts, there was another hosts that worked together who used to drive me insane with it. If I said to him, oh, I was struggling to articulate to him or them what the issue was, he'd start blowing up my phone and then just laughing at me while I'm struggling to figure out how to explain the unexplainable to people that can't speak the language. And all of this wasn't even my job.
You're from
I was
Boston.
supposed
You speak your language anyway.
And you had to have more than one computer to do all this because the
Yes.
computers were not handling the software. I mean, I had 2 computers to do the audio, one for audio, one for video, and then I had a laptop for my information, and it just now everything's all for one computer.
I think they're going to write books about us one day, and they're going to talk about like Shoutcast and Icecast and Comrex boxes.
Yeah, Shoutcast.
And
Oh God.
The nightmare that all that was, and then you'd have like your audio, you'd have to go in there and make sure that each one of them was grabbing the right thing. And like Jersey Joe just said, it couldn't because your computer wasn't fast enough to do it. So then you're stacking multiple computers. Plus, you're doing the whole damn job of keeping this going. And then you've got engineers from places calling you like, yeah, you got 1 minute. I know, dude. Like
WNJC.
Yeah.
Yep.
Red State Talk Radio, Mojo 5, all of them. They're calling. It was hell. And if they knew what you actually went through to bring them great stuff, and then to get called a conspiracy theorist, it come out later, and I have never once got an I'm sorry. Lately, this is kind of off topic, but all of you guys, I've heard all of you talk about this cloud seeding. We were all called conspiracy theorists because cloud seeding was fake, and now everybody just accepts cloud seeding. It's a real thing, but it's malevolent.
In Florida, it's illegal.
Yeah, well, it should be everywhere.
Well,
actually, Sean, I still remember when you called me. I think it was me and Dan got the phone call because you couldn't do the show on that New Jersey station,
WNJC.
Yeah, and me and Dan were going to do it, and then like a half hour, 40 minutes before, and I've never done it. I get the phone call. Yeah, Dan can't make it. You got to do the whole thing by yourself. I'm like,
and I was a mid-afternoon show. I was on at noon, and Joe used to do nights, so he was like still half awake when I called him, and I was like, Joe, I need you to sit in. Oh, okay. When? About 25 minutes, if you could. But Dan Butcher's going to be there to help you, so it'll be fine. And then Dan couldn't.
I had no show, no nothing written, nothing. I'm just like, oh, what do I do?
I was such a jerk.
I miss WNJC. That old man's doing like UHF TV now or something. But
I know. It's amazing.
Ass.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
For me, it was an honor to. I know it may sound stupid, but that's my old.
That's
where
going
I'm
home
from.
to you.
Yeah, that was my home to me. So it was cool and it was funny. I'm in Florida doing it up in Jersey.
Broadcasting back home.
Yeah,
Well, I remember after that, I remember you calling me. You're like, hey, if you ever need me to fill in again, just
then you were like, yeah, I'm going to be busy next month. Then I'm not going to be back just yet.
Well, I don't know if you guys know this or not, because when I got pitched the idea to do my show there, I looked it up. That was the first. Those call letters, that actual station was the first syndicated station Rush Limbaugh ever picked up. And that's actually why Rick Trader told me he went in and signed me. He was like, I'm going to be honest. I normally only sign people that have at least two people, maybe 3 doing a show. He said, I never sign solos. You're in.
Wow.
And then I looked that up and I was like, wow. But yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
And I'm not saying I'm ever going to fill those shoes, because his brother sometimes catches my show, and I'm just, in case this is one of those times, trust me, David, I'm never going to fill those shoes. But it was just kind of,
to be clear.
You remember the
for
phone
him to
calls.
basically imply it. I was like, that's interesting. I was like, you just said that because the check's clear.
Yeah, exactly.
You remember the phone calls that you used to get when I was having problems. Luckily, if I had them before the show, Sean, and I would call you if you weren't there. I would call you at work.
Yes.
Okay. And it was late. It was work, and it was late. It was probably 7 p.m., 7:30, and then you were kind enough that you would come in, log in, tickety clack, tickety clack, take over the fucking computer remotely from who knows where the hell you were at the time, and then I'd watch the cursor go.
Oh gosh, I remember those days.
Okay, I got to look at this, and it was all that XSplit bullshit.
It was always that. What's funny is Jeremy gave me PTSD when he said Shoutcast. because Shoutcast was another one that was unbelievably great idea that never friggin' worked. It was absolutely amazing in theory.
Great on paper, schizophrenic implementation.
Oh, and I forget, Rick, do you remember the engineer that used to work WNJC during the day, the ones that actually hooked us in when we would start our show?
No, honestly, I sent him a pre-record, so I never had to deal with the engineer.
Oh, he would call me 5 minutes before I was getting ready to do the show. Hey, we good? Yep. Everything's up and running. Yep. Okay. Here's, make sure you hook up to this. Yep. I got my outlet set up. And inevitably, Icecast or XSplit would drop like 2 to 3 minutes before I'm supposed to go on the air. And then he'd be calling me back like 2 minutes, like, I don't see you sitting there. I'm supposed to transition over to you. Like, yeah, no, I'm fine. Just start the transition. And then I would, and mind you, it was 9 o'clock in the morning here. I usually work nights for years. I used to do it from my office in the morning. Nobody ever knew that at work. I would just lock my door and put a sign up, say I was in a meeting every hour, Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. And I actually, you want to know how sneaky I was about it? I drilled holes in my desk to run the cabling, and I had all the soundboard and everything stashed in my top left drawer. So I'd shut the door, open the drawer.
Excuse me, top left what? Top left what?
Draw.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
And I'd open and that's how I did it. And nobody ever knew that I had all of this equipment stashed in the drawers of my desk. And I used to do it 5 days a week. And then I do Sackhead shows at night. So it was incredible. It was a lot of fun. I was really glad I did it. It was nuts.
Somebody asked me one time what you sounded like, Sean, and I told them Ben Affleck.
Actually, for the record, I'm older than Ben, so he sounds like me.
Okay, I'll take that.
Oh man, yeah, I get that sometimes. It depends.
I want to go over this because we got about 2 more minutes. Oh shit, I'm not going to have enough time to do it. Well, I'll do this, do the break, and then we'll come back to it. Sean, you made an interesting point. Fuck it, geez. What the hell? I haven't even gotten to what is the show about President Trump 6 months in? Haven't even fucking gotten there yet. Jeez. Jeff, it's all your fault, mister.
No.
I'm blaming you.
It's the mic's fault. Hell, you're the pod, remember?
Jeez, no kidding. But I want you to explain this if you could, Lucy, and then we'll take a break and then we'll come back. You found something really interesting.
Oh, God.
that I retweet or re-X'd, whatever the hell, I white sharked, whatever it's called, and put this out. And so you found out that there's some weird shit going on. And here's the graphic. I can read a little bit of it above, but you discovered, okay, heat versus guns, the real risk. You're 3.6 times more likely to die from heat in Europe than by gun homicide in America. And it's like equals, what the fuck? How did you find that?
Well, and what's funny is that was 2 days ago on the 21st, I put that out. Yeah. And I was responding. If you don't follow, and I watch him on YouTube and I follow him on X, Habitual Line Crosser. And he's in with the Fat Electrician, Angry Cops. He's with that whole group of podcasters. Real smart guy, real
Brandon
good.
Guy, the gun guy.
Yep, Brandon Ferreira. So
who is a super dude.
He put out just a post saying, I have to check this myself, but somebody told me essentially that more people die from heat in Europe than firearms in the US. And immediately the tism kicked in. It was after my Monday night show. I should have been going to bed, and here I am using AI for investigation to its fullest. So I figured out that 19.4 deaths per 100,000 per WHO numbers in Europe, versus 5.4 deaths per 100,000 in America to gun violence. That's how many more people died. And now this has to be probably one of my most popular posts ever on X. It's got 75,000 views. It's been retweeted 415 times. So then I broke it down because, everyone starts asking questions. They're like, well, how is that even possible? It's Europe, for God's sakes. It doesn't even get that hot.
First question.
And some Brits were kicking in saying, well, we're only allowed to open our second floor windows 3 inches, and we live in these brick buildings. So when it gets to 70, it ends up being 95, 100 inside because the heat has no way to dissipate.
Jesus.
So I thought that was interesting. And then somebody said, well, what about, they try to defend it. They're like, well, what about like suicide rates? Because more people, when I did the numbers, I articulated that I did not watch suicide numbers in with the gun violence numbers because I personally don't consider that gun violence. I think that's just a rube that they use to pull wool over the eyes. That is a mental crisis moment. That is not gun violence. There's a big difference. So I said, okay, let's look. This is fun. Let's look at suicide rates, Europe versus the United States. It's 3-2, 21.4 to 14.2 for suicide rates. Obviously, males at a higher rate than females. And in Europe, per 100,000, so this is keeping the populations even, 150,000 deaths a year for suicide. In the U.S. is only 49,500. So everybody was like, holy cow, like this is crazy. What the hell's going on in Europe? Which is a fair question. What the hell is going on in Europe? Because they're dying of heat. They're dying of suicide, literally killing themselves. And somebody said, what about cold? So once again, the tism goes into effect and I'm starting yakking away instead of going to sleep like a normal human being.
What's normal?
Well, not anyone on this show. And
hey, I resemble her, Mark.
I find out in Europe Finland, Norway, they have some cold sections. 204,000 people per 100 die a year to America's 1,024. And what's funny is after this, the day after I put this out, the next day, the Babylon Bee was poking fun at France for their air conditioning report.
Yes.
They released a report. I think the same day I did this, I hadn't even seen it, honestly, saying that they don't use air conditioning because it shocks the system. That was a report for the French government. And then all of a sudden, all of these other broadcasters and semi-famous people on YouTube and X start spitting out all these random facts about how Europe is just conceivably a horrible place to live compared to the US. And I feel like the founding fathers would be very proud of me for the work that I did on those 3 reports.
Thank you very much. This just in, it proves once again that the British are too stupid to open their windows.
All of Europe.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Listen in to the Reaver of Common Sense, where we cut through the noise of news and politics with a show equipped for bombast. Tune in Mondays and Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. Pacific, featuring a refreshing dose of reality. Jersey Joe fearlessly tackles the tough topics with no nonsense, just pure common sense. Visit shrmedia.com, where you can hear the Reaver of Common Sense in action. He may not always be polite. He may not always be refined. But one thing's for sure. He always tells it like it is.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out 7 Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing. They're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with 7 Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, passion.
Are you looking for bold and honest conversation about the issues shaping America? Well, let me welcome you to Unleashed 101. I'm Jeremy Hansen, where we take you beyond the headlines. We dive into politics and culture, the struggles of everyday life. It's raw, real, and unfiltered. If you're ready for truth with a
Okay, stop. Is that your best Louisiana drawl? Really?
punch, pull up a chair and join us. That's right, Unleashed 101, where we'll talk.
I can say that. He's not in front of the mic, so he's not listening.
Feel at home. Find us at unleashed101.com, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and more. We look forward to seeing you. Unleashed 101 with Jeremy Hicks.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
So I'm back. I'm BZ. It's it's 9:37 Pacific, which means that it is 11:37. God, Jesus. Not here right now. Call in later. BZ's not present. Central. And then 12:37, now 12:38 Eastern, and it's 1749.7235 Bolivian time, but I could never understand Bolivian time. That's subgrowth cluster 2, paragraph 42, drawer 4, paragraph, I think it's 45 or 46. So, folks, thanks for being here tonight. Our plush, sumptuous, and palatial and resplendent chat room awaits anytime that I have a show. Subscribe to the channel here on Rumble. I'm on Rumble over there. I'm on YouTube over there. I'm on wherever good podcasts can be found. Share the show. Share liberally. Disseminate quickly, like a bunny, as much as you possibly can, because each subscription gets every member of SHR a different thing. I'll let Jersey Joe talk about what it gets him. I'll let Sean talk about what it gets him. But with me, if you click the share button, I have not yet acquired the porcelain Dalmatian or more vodka. I'm going with vodka. So welcome back is Sean and Jersey Joe and Jeremy Hansen and Rick Robinson. And thanks to everybody, every last damn one of you
BC.
for being here tonight. Yes, sir.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
That commercial you had for Jeremy Hansen.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you able to put that picture up again?
I sure am. Hold on one moment. Here we go.
Tell me that doesn't look like Sean Connery.
Yeah. Wow.
A little bit. I can see that.
Yeah. Good call, Joe.
So, BZ, go with the vodka filled Dalmatian.
Oh, that'd be like the fireman's boot. Okay. You know, you go down to the various corners. Hi, we're the firemen. We're soliciting alms for the pool. Alms for the pool. By the way, you put fucking vodka in there. I'll donate, motherfucker.
You just don't like where you're going to have to drink it from.
You know.
I was saving that part for later as the surprise. Thanks for ruining it, Sean.
Just take the plug out of the nose and all that air will rush to the bottom.
You guys, why I got it. I think it's wonderful that at least something. I used to do this to Ken McClinton. Ken would have me on the show. And if you have a spare prayer for Ken, shove it his way if you would. But Ken would invite me on Monday night. And my job, I had a job when Ken invited me. And I'm kind of bigfooting myself in this same fashion, because my job, Ken would tell me, okay, tonight I'm going to be talking about blah blah. Okay, got it. Thanks, Ken. And my job was to make sure that I never let Ken go to the topic that he wanted to talk about. I'd bring every motherfucking thing else up except that's what he wanted to talk about. And so, by the way, I should remind everybody also,
folks, this is BZ's final hour. Step up. Last call for alcohol.
Just a reminder, the fireman's boot size or the Dalmatian size right here. This, I don't know, this seems awfully wimply to me, although it's almost predominantly gone. Can't imagine how that happens. Let's go back up here. I want you to talk about one more thing. Lewis, Sean, one each.
Yes.
Braden Langley. Okay. If you guys haven't gone, I obviously highly recommend that you go to Rick Robinson at KLRN and Jersey Joe, his show, Jeremy Hansen, Unleashed 101, Sean, all of the shows on SHR, KLRN, Jeremy Hansen. But you ought to check this dude out too. Now, I was kind of a gun guy when I was range master. This dude knows, because I've been out of the game for a long time, this dude knows a shit ton more than I do. At Braden Langley, he's got his own, I don't know, Sean, what is it, like 20-minute show, half-hour show?
Yeah, he usually does a daily show, anywhere from 15 to a half hour, depending on what he's talking about.
Yeah, he's got a great podcast, but then he did this after you. So explain this, Lucy, if you would.
So he and I were on the same wavelength. My original post was to response to his. And we were on the same wavelength because we did that not too separated from each other time-wise. He also, and I have to give him a lot of credit and say thank you, he featured my post on his Tuesday's episode.
Yes, you said, yes.
So that was really cool of him to do that. So I appreciate it very much.
So if you guys want to go to Europe and think that you're going to be cutting a fat fucking hog, oh, sorry, hog Islam, bad verboten. Don't say that, PZ. Look at this. Cold versus guns in Europe. You're 20.3 times more likely to die from cold, heat, suicide in Europe than by a gun homicide, not a suicide, a gun homicide in the U.S.
Why do Europeans hate climate control? That's my question.
It's like, what the?
Well, of course, they have to control the outside climate. They obviously don't know shit about controlling the inside climate. I mean, that's clearly obvious.
What the hell happened? So I just find this very interesting. So I've been bigfooting myself. I should, I said, oh, we're going to talk about Donald Trump and a lot of this stuff. So
I was wondering if I missed a memo somewhere.
So let's start that, because I've only got about, 20 minutes left, something like that. We can at least talk and indicate that, I made good. In the private chat, by the way, I should tell you, Jeremy Hansen, if you weren't in the private chat, Rick said, damn, that music bed. I want a scotch and a cigar, mister, right now.
That's awesome.
And the other thing, this is very interesting. You didn't put this up in the big chat. So, and I didn't see it until just now. So Jeremy Hansen, if you would explain this, you wrote, just so you guys know, I've given Trump a C- in the first 6 months. So if you would, let me pull this down because, let's see, James Bickerton at MSN.com wrote an article saying Donald Trump is the most successful president after 6 months since FDR. Well, let's pull that down and now have a bit of an explanation. And since you brought it up, Jeremy Hansen, how about everybody here give an alpha grade to President Trump for the first 6 months of his regime? Jeremy Hansen, you clearly had some thoughts.
Yeah, he got a C-, and I thought I was being generous. Here's the thing. Great business mind. He's done some great things. The blue-collar workers' wages are going up. But I am fucking tired of not seeing people in fucking jail. I am tired of not seeing people with handcuffs on. I am tired of the same bullshit and him hiding stuff, and they can say what they want. Well, there's nothing there. There's no. I was so offended that I got lied to by Donald Trump to my fucking face that, oh, there's no list. No, you said there was a list. Bondi said there was a list. All these people said that there was a list, and us, I know, BC, me and you've talked about this. We knew the list would never come out because you've got the CIA involved, you've got MI6 involved, you've got Mossad involved. All of them paid Epstein to get blackmail. So why doesn't Trump just come out and say, well, you know what? He was an intelligence asset. They did a bunch of really bad things. We're not going to let it happen anymore. The son of a bitch is dead. He was probably killed by one of those people. Instead of coming out and saying, and this is what really just burned my ass, was him coming out and saying, it's old news. Why are we talking about that? We're talking about that because you campaigned on it, because we're trying to fix America. And you know what? My thing is anymore, you can do all the money stuff that you want. We now live in a country that the top 1% owns 60% of America. The sliding scale of what the business owners make to what the workers make is 1,200% difference from 1979 till now. There's no fixing that. The only thing we can fix is get back to being what America is actually about. And I don't see Trump doing that. I see him getting petty when it comes to like the stuff where he had personal insults and stuff. And I do kind of like when he calls names and stuff, but I'm kind of tired of the game. I'm tired of living in high school. I'm tired of graduating to college, and I want to live in real life, and I want people arrested. I want justice. I am so sick and tired of all of this because it's the same bullshit regurgitated over and over and over, just like all of Trump's executive orders. What has he got done besides of executive orders? And that's another point to there's got to be a purge, because Biden did most of the things by executive order. Trump had to do most of his things by executive order. The last time anybody was able to do anything that wasn't really done by fiat was Obama. And the only damn reason that happened was because he was black. And the white Republicans didn't want to look bad by going against a black dude, the first one and nobody will fucking say it across the United States. I'm saying it, and I'll be the bad guy. I don't really care. But that's the truth.
Well, he also had both houses for the first 2 years.
Yes.
So that was part of it. You know, I railed.
What grade? First off, okay, Jeremy Hansen, you're giving him a grade of what? Would you say C minus? C minus.
Yeah.
Okay. To start, everybody, Jersey, Rick, Sean, what overall grade would you give for the first 6 months at this point? Okay, let me ask this. Let me back up a little bit. Jeremy, are you talking about the things that have occurred under 47, or are you talking 45 and 47?
No, I'm only talking about the first 6 months here. I'm talking about his foreign policy, which has been great. I'm talking about the things that he's done in this country, like the tariffs. I'm a big supporter of. Those things I think are great. What I don't think is great is everything else, and the reason that we're put into the position that we are. None of that has been addressed. You know, I think Pam Bondi may be schizophrenic because you don't know exactly what's going to happen with her.
Well, she certainly has memory failure.
Yeah, Bongino. I don't know if you guys watched it, but when they asked if Epstein unalived himself, I'm going to say it that way so nobody gets in trouble on here. Did you see Kash Patel and Bongino's face? Like, you could tell they were lying and they were under so much pressure and they had to say what they were saying. And my thing is Trump is supposed to be the biggest badass president that we've ever had. Why are those guys in that position under Donald Trump, appointed by Trump? Why are they scared to tell the American people the truth?
Okay, now with that in place, Sean, grade on just 47 and then splain.
B. I'm gonna go B plus.
Okay.
I totally agree with you about everything involved in the Epstein thing. I railed on it in my show when he said that. I said, look, you need to come out. Even we've never been in the office. We've never been in the inner portion of government. Like you said, I'm a firm believer that he was operational for a couple of countries, including our own. I understand, even though I hate it, I understand that you have to maintain certain things that just won't ever come out, whether we like it or not. That's just the way it is. So when I grade, I can grade keeping that in mind. Now, should it come out? Yes. But I mean, at that point, everybody gets a D back to what, 1955? Because I mean, that's really when it started to go. I mean, after OSS and World War II was invented, that's when shit started going downhill with all the secrecy and everything. Yeah, I'll give Woodrow Wilson a knock there too. He started a lot of that internal bullshit. But so I give this grade accepting that as a reality, even if I hate it. I kind of have to separate the two. I agree with you that Congress hasn't done shit other than the one big beautiful bill, which barely passed. That they did codify some of the Doge cuts. I'll give them credit for that. I really wish he would be better about rallying Congress versus attacking the people who overtly. And I get it. He doesn't play the politics game. They're playing the politics game. Everything these people say is to fundraise. They at the end of the day, even Thomas Massey, as much as like people, how can you go after Rand Paul and Thomas Massey? Because they're still fundraising off of it. They may be coming from a different angle, but their end result is still the same. They're still politicians. They're still fundraising. Yes, they can be libertarians or whatever, but they're no different in their speaking and their motives than any other politician on the Hill. They're trying to keep their phony baloney jobs, gentlemen. That's just, give them a harumph and call it a day. So I look at that. Foreign policy, which I understand domestic policy is incredibly important. I think foreign policy for our nation was one of the things that was choking us out. Look at USAID, look at all the tariffs, whatever. So for that to be priority one and for him to actually recognize that, look, every president we've had, I mean, back to Obama and even George Bush, our foreign policy was shit. We were giving the house away hand over fist. We were just giving money out. We were rebuilding countries we didn't need to be rebuilding, yada, yada, yada. So for him to try to stem that bleeding, because that was the artery in the leg that was going. And for him to at least try to stop that bleeding, I think was yeoman's work. It really was a difficult task that needed to be accomplished. And I think he did a decent job accomplishing that. But he was the first one to really do anything about it in God knows how long. So for that alone, he gets more credit than any other president because it needed to happen. Back to Reagan. That's where I really had a bonus to his grade was his foreign policy. His domestic policy, look, I agree with what he did with LA. I agree with him grabbing the National Guard and the Marines and saying, no, we're not going to have this bullshit. We're not going to have another summer of love. You're not going to burn down cities while I stand by and let it happen. And even though they were only protecting federal property, their presence was felt. And I think that's important. His movements on immigration, I think, are great. I think it's what needs to happen because even if we don't get rid of all of the 10 to 30 million on estimates that came into the country, look at what it did to our border and how few people are coming in now. It sent the message. This shit's over. It's a new ball game. It's a new world. And then on top of it all, he did get 1 million people to self-deport. That's pretty freaking incredible. So he gets an unbelievable score on the border, but more than any other president's done. And that's something that I applaud him for. Working with Congress has been a shit show, but Congress itself is a shit show. You have a guy who's not a politician trying to communicate with people who are only politicians. And when they pull a Rand Paul or a Thomas Massey where they step out and they start, making it about them, he's going to fire back. That's just who Trump is. So it's expected. It's sad. There are times I want him to be a little more of a statesman, but the trade-off to that is people also need to hold even the conservatives accountable for, hey, this isn't the time for your bullshit. You'll have plenty of time to make comments. Yeah. You kind of need to let us prove a point and get the country going in the right direction so we get our asses reelected. Because if we don't go in the right direction, they're going to get the same shellacking Obama did if they don't get their shit together real soon. And that's just how it's going to be.
Okay, Jersey Joe, what do you think? In terms of 47, what grade, and then what are your salient points about that?
I'm a toss up between like a B+ and an A-.
Okay.
I think the economy's doing great. The Doge cuts, what is it? The Resend Act. I mean, that's just one out of many. That was a test one that they ran with. They wanted to see if it was going to go through, how it would go. I think we're going to see a hell of a lot more of them. His border alone, what he's done with the border so quickly, is we've never seen that a president act like that. Foreign policy, when it comes to his promises of locking people up, I never expected it was going to be fast. For me, at least, and I've said it on my show, if it's done fast, that's revenge. I want it where, yes, it may take a little bit longer, but I want to see a solid case that these people can't weasel out of. I don't want a sloppy thrown together case just to get them in handcuffs. I'd rather be a little patient, but I understand people's wanting it. We've been watching politicians get away with almost murder for decades and nothing being done. Epstein, I think that they handled it wrong, but I think there's been a lot of files that have been destroyed. And I think, when you look at it, Comey's daughter was one of the main ones and had a lot of access to that paperwork, and all of a sudden she's fired out of nowhere. But so far, he hasn't done bad. For me, I'm from New Jersey. I'm used to mouths like that. I'm used to Trump's mouth like that. It don't bother me. I think some of these Republicans, and Congress keep shooting themselves in the foot.
Yes.
Massey, Paul, and Roy going out there. We need to start somewhere. Yes, everything's not getting done in their time frame, but it's a start. It's something. It's a movement. We can't just expect everything to be done in an instant. And we got stuff moving. Have we ever seen these Doge cuts before? Have we ever seen $9 million being cut out? We have a surplus, I think I saw, with tariffs going on. Financially, we're doing great. It's going to take time, I think, for me. And that's, my opinion.
Okay. Joe, Joe touched on a great point, and I really appreciate this. I also agree with the cases being done properly and not rushed to get a headline. I think that is a huge, huge portion of it. And if you've ever worked in investigation, that's an important part. So amen for that, man.
Well, let me throw this out as well. You made an excellent point, and you referenced Reagan. When it comes around to me, I want to make a point with regard to Reagan. But before that, it's only fair. Rick Robinson, what do you think? 47. What kind of a grade would you proffer?
I mean, up until Epstein, I would have given him an A+. I think right now I'm sitting at probably about a B-, maybe a B- high C. My issue with the Epstein stuff is, look, some of us, I know what Sean used to do. I know what BZ used to do. Some of you know what I used to do. I know how a lot of this stuff works. So do you guys. We knew most of this stuff was never going to come out in the way that we expected. My problem, and where they lost points with me, and it's been that way for a long time, was Bindergate, which is what I called it when all this the right-leaning social media influencers came out and started doing their little "we got it" dances, and I'm like, this is no different than the last administration. That was my issue with it. But the other thing is, because I have done this kind of work and I've done these kind of things, I also have noticed that right around the same time they said, yeah, there's not really any there, all of a sudden there were all kinds of arrests for people that were running in those same kind of circles. And I'm just like, maybe this is the reason why they're saying there's no there, because they've decided they're going to go after people instead of just scaring them off. I don't really know the answer to the question. I do know, and I've been saying this now for weeks, Bondi screwed up, and I don't know if it was because Bondi wasn't really paying attention, and I've talked about this on every show that I've done since, when the Fox News guy is like, do you have the Epstein list? And she's like, yes, it's on my desk, but then every other thing she mentions after that is file. I don't know if she missed the word list, and I will admit that at some point even I started thinking that maybe there was some sort of like Ghislaine Maxwell style little black book or something, but the thing about it is, none of that really matters at this point, because as much as I want the answers to those questions, and I do think we deserve them, and eventually we probably will have as many of them as we can get, there are way too many other more salient and important things that are happening right now, because if we were still moving in the same direction that we were moving with under Biden, none of us would probably be able to have this conversation right now.
Yeah. Well,
all of our networks would have been shut down by now. They would have found out that. I mean, think about what happened during COVID. I mean, I started a morning show as a joke during COVID because we were only supposed to be allowed to work from home for 2 weeks, and then all this stuff started coming out, and we went from having like the number 2, number 3 show on Spreaker for like the first week that we launched it to nobody being able to find it because they buried it because of the things that we were talking about. So I get and I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody or anything. Everybody that's mad about Trump doing this, that, or the other has every right to feel the way that they feel. But he's done so many other things, and I still think there's some cooking going on with these files. I think that's why they've basically been there's no there because did anybody notice all the human trafficking arrests that spiked shortly after they said there's no there? I think there's a connection we're not seeing there yet, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, but how many times have we seen with Trump where, he says one thing and then a couple of months later, all of a sudden you're going, oh, shit, now everything makes sense of everything that was going on. It all connects. And, people connect it to the 4D chess or whatever. I just think sometimes there's some stuff going on and he knows not to let stuff out because the Democrats are going to leak the shit out. And they've done it time and time again.
Now, I will admit,
little guys. They get little guys. They'll get some kids back, and they get the little guys. But you never see the high-profile guys go down. You never see the dirty-ass politicians go down. You see these low-level street thug guys that are trafficking kids, the low-level guys. That's all we ever get, and we never get any more. And it's been that way since I can remember. And I was going to say this. You guys all agree with me, like foreign policy is really good. My other big issue that was probably the minus on the C was BlackRock. Trump has really cozied up to BlackRock. He brought them in on the Panama Canal deal. And then when they announced the rebuilding, which we all knew was coming, which they said wasn't, with Ukraine, BlackRock's heading the Ukraine deal with rebuilding it. So to me, it's like a kick in the balls working with BlackRock, the same company. They own more stuff than anybody else in the world, and the big get bigger, and the poor are getting. I shouldn't say the poor are getting poor. The people without jobs right now are getting poor. The people with jobs are getting a little better right now, but the super rich are they doing good right now?
Well, the other thing I wanted to bring out, and you know what? It goes back to this, and Sean, you weren't here for it, but I put this up on the stage and I said, this is an article from Kurt Schlichter, and customarily I would read articles with 4 other people here tonight talking about all these things. There's no time for this, but one of the things I pointed out and we discussed for a little bit was, can we get out of this without civil war? We would have gone to war and laid bodies, stacked them like fucking cordwood for a shit ton less than this. So at first blush, some people say, well, where have we gone? Where have we made the huge mistake that we really don't mind being the mites on the treadmill anymore? Where's the umbrage? Where are the torches and where are the pitchforks? And that's an emotional response from me. Historically, the United States has been a very tolerant and a very kind and a very giving nation. But there has to be a limit at some point where we say we've had enough. And that reminded me of this. Zelda put in the chat. I told a former Gawker journalist. Now, Gawker got sued by Hulk Hogan for some bullshit that they spewed about him. But here's Zelda saying that a Gawker journalist was celebrating the death of Hulk Hogan. And she said, Dudette, you need to detach. But how do you fight that? How do you go against that? It's so tough to even think about that. Well, here, let's see if I have this up. No, I'm going to play this first. This is what we're fucking fighting. This is a very brief interview. I think this is like 30 seconds, 40 seconds of Justice Ginsburg talking to somebody from another country who escapes me right now, but this is a SCOTUS justice before she kicked the bucket, saying that if anyone in another country is attempting or thinking of rewriting or writing a fresh constitution, you should not fucking look to the United States of America. This is from, at the time, a sitting jurist.
You should certainly be aided by all the constitution writing that has gone on since the end of World War II. I would not look to the U.S. Constitution if I were drafting a constitution in the year 2012. I might look at the Constitution of South Africa. That was a deliberate attempt to have a fundamental instrument of government that embraced basic human rights, had an independent judiciary. It really is, I think, a great piece of work that was done.
So let me stop that right now. Stop. Get it off. Because I don't, this infuriates me. I must say something like this absolutely infuriates me. If you have someone on SCOTUS who isn't even interested in serving the fundamental basics of freedom in the United States of America, fuck you and get the fuck out. But this is what way too many of these people, if they're not going to overtly say it, I mean, she said the formerly quiet part out loud, is that our Constitution limits the government. And in their way of brain think, it's the Constitution that should embolden the government and limit the individual. You can't have freedom with that. Let me see if I can go over here. Let me display this, because we were talking about what were the specific words that were said. And Tuesday night I went into, this is a fucking trap. This is a trap. With Coptum, with government, with anybody else, in some kind of a critical incident, you need to be saying one of these two things. Number one, you need to be transparent as hell, as much as you possibly can. And when you can tell people, tell them. But then on the other hand, if you're in the midst of some kind of an investigation, you say, I'm sorry, I can't tell you that. But when we have sufficient information during the course of the investigation, we'll reveal what we have. And that saves you from this kind of bullshit.
They may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk.
The list of, Brett Baer said, the list of Epstein clients. He didn't say a book. He didn't say a charter. He didn't say a manifesto. He said a list. That's very specific wordage. Now, what's the response?
Right now to review, that's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So the thing that you should, and most people did, who are logically thinking individuals, that they pulled out of this was, Brett Baer says list. In response, she says the list, because she didn't call it anything else, or she didn't attempt to correct Brett Baer. What she said was, by inference, the list, his words, is sitting on my desk. And this is how you get into trouble. This is the kind of stupid shit that people are new do. And I'm sure you guys, each one of you, remember James Comey said, we went into the White House to speak to General Flynn because we knew that the people in the White House were sufficiently stupid, silly, and fattening to not realize that anytime an appointment by an FBI agent is made, it needs to go through the proper channels. But I, James Comey, knew that we could get in there and I could do it because I went ahead and did it, and I was right. And I did. And it was a setup for General Flynn. You got to be smarter than this, people. You absolutely have to be smarter than this. So my grade, I give it a B to a B plus. No one is perfect. And let me make the comparison to Ronald Reagan, another great statesman. I loved Ronald Reagan's words. Ronald Reagan could write like no one's business. And I can remember when I voted for him in 1979 or 80, and he was sworn in 81. I still have a picture up on my desk that I took from the television in 1981. I never up to that point had ever been so proud to be a citizen of the United States of America than I was under him. Never. Now, this is going to sound maybe weird or crass, and I'm qualifying my statement. In terms of who actually got shit accomplished, I'd have to put Trump over Reagan. Reagan had wonderful words, but Reagan did some things with which I greatly disagreed, which had to do with immigration. That was then, this is now. But one of the things that you absolutely must fucking do is, as a detective, as somebody in law enforcement, and somebody in the DOJ, what you need to do is let the fucking investigation go where it goes. And don't be ashamed to let it do so. Because if you couch words, because everyone can, if there's one thing that a veteran officer can do on any department, is they're fat, they're lazy, and they sit at the back of the fucking briefing room. And we've all seen them. And I call them backstreet reptiles. And the backstreet reptiles sit at the back of the room. When they were in my classes, there were two ways to teach people. There was pedagogy and andragogy. And I'll make that reference in just a moment. Pedagogy is, when I was instructor, I would go to the academy and say, this, and this. And the young little recruits would sop that it. He's God on the stand. That's pedagogy. They assume that you're going to be talking properly, that whatever it is the right thing. Andragogy is the backstreet reptile at the back of the briefing room. And the first question, once you have to answer for that kind of an individual, is their first question in any training venue is, what's in it for me?
Overtime.
All right, I don't mean to interrupt, but I gotta jump, guys. It's been a long day, and we're going.
I get it. Thanks for being here, Rick.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Rick.
Take care. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. But you have to ask, and they ask, what's in it for me? Well, that translates to you have to be able to teach to these people, and you have to be able to speak to these people. And one of the ways that you speak to these people is, even though they're line level deputies, and even though we are line level citizens, we are groundlings, we are proles, we are serfs. But like the fat, lazy cop in the back row, the backstreet reptiles that I reference, they can smell your lies and your bullshit from hundreds of miles away. And it's the same now. So don't smoke our ass. Be a fucking adult and talk to us as adults, as we expect we will be. Donald John Trump has his quirks and features. We're not going to change him. Now, the things that people say, it brings up just a shit ton of conspiracy theories. Well, the House recessed. They're not coming back till September. Well, the reason they recessed is they don't want to vote on Epstein. Trump's name is on the list. Last Tuesday's show, I showed two separate articles which said specifically, both from the Wall Street Journal, that said, yes, Trump's name is on the list. A second one said, no, Trump's name isn't on the list. So if you're not honest and upfront, Pam Bondi, what you do is you create conspiracy theories that need not be fomented. This is easily dissuadable if you would treat people like adults and like human beings. And this is a
jump in
constant mistake that government makes. Jersey Joe.
You know why I think Trump's not on the list? Because Dick Durbin's running with that Washington Post article now.
Well, yeah.
He's calling for investigations because he heard Washington Post said that he's on the list. So if he's sitting there running with it, we know it's bullshit. And that it was put out there to try to hurt Trump.
Well, the other thing that you have to consider, and all of us here realize this, is what is not said is frequently every bit as important as what is said. Now, if Trump were on whatever, do you think that the Democrats and leftists, globalists, the anarchists would hold this information? We're waiting for just the right moment. It's like
burn the country down.
It's like Q, Oh, Q has everything. Fuck Q.
Who's Q? Who are you talking about?
I don't know. Q is this thing that all sorts of conspiracy theorists / realists are
My
saying.
mind goes to science fiction of Star Trek and Q. And I'm like, how the hell did that jump in here?
No, it's the QAnon stuff. Yeah, trust the process.
I'm sorry,
trust the
BC.
system,
I
trust
was
the
trying to
process.
clarify.
Yeah, it's the QAnon stuff. Exactly. And to every QAnon conspiracist or believer, I say, okay, if Q knows everything and is waiting, Q doesn't give a shit about the people of the United States of America, because Q, by withholding valuable, incredible, critical information, has allowed hundreds, perhaps thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of Americans to die. So if you had this information that could forestall all of this and you still withheld it, again, see my previous statement. All of you who believe in Q, fuck you and fuck off, because that would have been put out there. You're nothing but another fucking Democrat. If they had the information, the Democrats are just like fucking Iran. If they have a bomb, they're going to fucking use a bomb.
Oh, there's no way that wouldn't have come out already. For
Exactly.
the love of God.
Exactly. Turned their own people down to get that information.
Yes.
To destroy Trump.
Yes. During his second run, that would have come out immediately. Immediately. The FBI, because remember, who was running the FBI under him? Under Trump the first time.
Yeah, Mr. Jimmy the Leak.
He would have leaked that shit out in a second. It would have leaked like a baby's diaper all over the friggin' place. Yeah. And there's that's why, and I laugh, because every time they try to, and again, they're just fundraising comments. They're comments to get clips that they can put on their website and raise money, right? But as soon as that came out the first time, it's like, well, Trump's probably on the list because back before anyone knew anything about Epstein, he was once seen at a wedding with him once. And I'm like, okay, a bunch of people were. Clinton was, a whole bunch of people. And they leave out the part that once Trump found out what Epstein was about, he corroborated with FBI. He kicked Trump out, Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago and told him to go pound sand. Yep. Trump was on the Epstein's plane with his wife and his kids from New York to Florida one time or twice. It wasn't on it by himself to the island or any of that stuff. But a lot of people took that plane. Epstein was a schmoozer. That's how he made his money, was bullshitting people. And part of that is giving him a free ride on the jet.
Yep.
That's a fact.
And the point also is, as everyone here knows, and as Sean eloquently said, and as I proffered, if it was true and it existed, it would already have been used. Have you guys seen, for example, that yesterday or today, I don't recall which, another chick came out, and in social media, the deal is that, this is the 28th woman that Trump has raped. And I popped off.
She was the same woman who made the allegation to that British POS website just before the election, that they were trying to drop that as the Hail Mary because they knew Trump was going to win. And they brought her out, and I forget the name of the website. It's some ridiculous name. And they tried to run it as a legit website. And if you looked at their finances at the time, they were fundraising and upside down, so they needed anything they could. So of course a woman says, oh, Trump one time, I was Epstein's girlfriend back in the day, and Trump one time and I were alone, and blah, 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 blah. First and foremost, you're not going to come out 20 years later and say that. Trump has enough notoriety where nothing's going to happen to you, and Epstein's allegedly dead. So you could have made millions on this for a long time ago. And I equate all of this stuff to, let's just say you were fired and starving and your bank account is almost at zero. And you and another savings account had $20 million. You're going to go into that $20 million and start spending it. You're not going to get thrown out of the house and be like, well, I can't use that because it's in the savings account and that's for a later date. It is that later date. And the Democrats, if they were sitting on that 20 million when they were out of funds, they would have dumped that in a second. They would have been buying a yacht. They would have been buying a plane. They would have doing everything they could and fundraised off that. And they couldn't because there's no there. It's a nothing burger, as Van Jones likes to say.
Well, as McMahon said in the chat, and true, look what the Democrats did to Kavanaugh.
Yep.
Very true. And so you had your time. I don't know why I'm focusing on this chick, but it just super fucking pissed me off. You had your chance. You're a gold digger. I do not hesitate to call people what they are. And this is just another running bitch gold digger who thinks that she's going to put something over on Trump because other people have successfully sued, with that other fucking nut who came on to Anderson Cooper, who is fucking gay as hell. And you're looking pretty good, Anderson Cooper, and you're going to give this thing, this crazy ass wild fucking unit, millions of dollars.
I forgot all about her hitting on Anderson Cooper on TV.
Yeah. Do you not know that Anderson Cooper is gay as shit?
She was hitting on him.
She was hitting on it. It's like, fuck.
And it's not like it's a shock. She didn't out anything. Anderson Cooper's been out for years as a gay dude.
He has.
But she was also, and again, they didn't do the criminal suit against Trump. They had to do the civil. Why? Because of evidence laws, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing would have happened criminally, and that would have blown the civil suit if they tried it. So they didn't do that. All of her story made no sense. She was allegedly wearing a dress that hadn't even been designed and sold yet. Like, there were so many holes in that story. It could be Joe's underwear.
Well,
you leave my holy underwear alone. It's religious.
I just hadn't picked on you in a while.
And besides, who says I wear underwear?
God,
that's a good point.
Who says you have any clothes on under the table right now below that Sure Mike? As a matter of fact,
none of us one way or the other.
That's true, and I'm not standing up right now. Okay.
So is it two? Is it you guys both have Shures? And BZ and I both have Electro Voices. Is that what I'm looking at right now?
Yeah. Sean's got a Shure and Jersey Joe's got a Shure. Except Jersey Joe, I'm going to pull this over here. Jersey Joe has an end cap because you can put an end cap flag on a Shure, and I can't
like
do
that.
any of that kind of stuff on.
And he still hasn't sent me one, the bastard.
What do you need? The end cap?
Hey.
I know, because I'm getting ready because I want to do the magnetic one because the way I have the mic now, it's bolted in. I can get the magnetic one where I can have it where it's
okay.
That's a good idea.
You do realize that if you put a magnetic end cap on that, it's going to blow the diaphragm. You do realize that, right? So I would not put magnetism anywhere near.
That's
very expensive.
One of the main companies that does these sells it.
It's your mic, so go ahead.
Maybe I won't be doing that.
Just hashtag just saying.
2 weeks from now. Hi, this is Jersey Joe, the radio comments. Look at my new end cap. I didn't know that either, so I'm glad BZ said something because I didn't even kind of think of that.
Well, besides, we can't see the end of your mic.
Yeah.
Well, if you put it up higher, maybe you could. Well, I think I've spewed all the potential filth that I can for tonight. Does anybody want to wrap up anything in particular? I mean, because Jesus, I went everywhere almost except where I said I was gonna go, but we finally got there.
Yeah, just to wrap up on Trump one more time, and Joe touched on this a little bit, and I want to expand on it really quick. One of the other beauties that has come with Homeland Security and ICE doing what they're doing, and the U.S. Marshals with arresting these illegals, is they've recovered thousands of missing children, not tens, not hundreds, thousands of missing children since January. And remember, the first time Trump was in office, the U.S. Marshals recovered 45,000 missing children in the 4 years that he was in office, and that program was stopped almost immediately when Biden came into office. So that's another thing that added to my score, is they're finding young children, and I think that's just fantastic.
Well, the other thing that we have to say, and I think it's what tends to bring the greatest amount of umbrage from me, is the Beezy's reversal axiom, which is what would happen had a fraction of this shit been pulled by Trump 45 or 47. What if he was so addled that the auto pen was used for anything? You know, go to any number of incidents that occurred under 46 and reverse it, and then find out what kind of a shitstorm would have descended upon the entire country had that occurred. And it's with that in mind that I really do try to, I really must couch my language instead of saying what I really feel. And I shouldn't go here because for any number of reasons, but had that occurred, the reversal theory is such that had that occurred, Trump and anyone associated or aligned with him would have been buried under the prison. It's like it's like Islam and Catholicism. I make this comparison all the time, especially to fucking muzzies. May they burn in pig pits. I am not a big fan of Islam, as people may know. Islam is as Islam does. It's no more complicated than that. You and I and everyone else know that had a fraction, a minuscule amount of violence and death been done in the name of the Catholic Church in the past, 50 years. I'm not talking about the Catholic Church in the Renaissance when popes were killers. That's a story for another day. I'm talking about the general Catholic Church in the past, let's say 100 years, had a small, infinitesimal fraction of things been done in the name of Catholicism that were done in the name of Islam, you wouldn't have a standing Catholic Church in the United States or the rest of Europe. It would all be down to smoking, smoldering rubble. Guaranteed, because people would have no truck with that whatsoever. But because Islam either borgs you or kills you, and there is no such thing as a moderate Muslim. In terms of Islamists, there's only a moderate Muslim who isn't a Muslim because they're not doing it right. And I predicate this upon the books that I've read. I have read the Hadith. I have read the Torah. I've read the Bible. I've read the Quran. So I don't say these just to be mean. BZ, you're so mean. No, Islam wants to borg you or kill you. It's no more complicated than that. And a lot of people don't like my opinions on that. Couldn't care less. Islam is making an entrenched movement into the United States of America. It is a barbaric fucking death cult held by barbarians, and they will use your civilized ways against you just as they are doing now with, Captain Phillips in Minneapolis and Mamdani in New York City. If you don't stop these shit sticks, they will subsume you. Hamtramck I always fuck up the name of that city. Hamtramck, Michigan, gone. Dearborn, gone. Marseille, gone. A bulk of Europe, gone. Now, how I got into this, I'm not quite sure. But
you actually led yourself down the path and
I
then
did.
exploded on yourself for doing such. So it was rather impressive.
So basically, thank you very much. Wait.
You guys
I'm giving myself nicely done, BC. That's the only time I have ever done that. But the point being that we are so tolerant as a nation that we've passed and crossed the line of naivety into hypocrisy and true, honest to God ignorance. And we are being led by the ignorant. We are listening to adults who are generally no smarter than the kids that they bore, which is very, very sad. Each one of us here know how to solve this problem.
There's a fine line between adults and adult.
Well, yeah. And Adolf, as a matter of fact.
A totally different line, but another line nonetheless. I love the fact that BZ is the only person I know that can make a comment, get pissed off at the comment that he said himself, and then rant at himself about the comment for 10 minutes straight. It's just glorious to see.
It's pretty awesome.
It's like a completely unbelievable, it was almost like two people having that conversation. And
Listen,
it was.
If I can't talk to me, who can? Who are you talking about? Who are you saying? Were you talking about that? I'm the only one here. Are you talking to me like that? Well, apparently I am talking to you like that. And by the way, again, because that's how fucking brilliant I am. Anyway, having said that, Sean, did you have anything that you wanted to wrap up with?
No, I appreciate you having me tonight. As always, it's a pleasure. You can catch me Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast on the SHR Media Network, YouTube, X, Rumble. You know all the places. On X, you can follow me, the number 2 Against Tyranny.
Kula Rebus. Sean, sir, thank you for being here again. And the Ever of Common Sense. What about you, sir? Are you going to be evening? Are you here? Are you there? Oh, wait a minute. Let's get me out of there. And let's go to the other people that are here. So, Ever of Common Sense, what about you, sir?
Every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. on the right coast, 6 p.m. on the left coast. I almost did it backwards there. On all of SHR Media's social media, and only on SHR. You can catch me on X at Jersey Joe Talks, and I should be here tomorrow night. I've had to take last Friday I wasn't here, but I did a makeup show Saturday and Monday. We've had a lot of storms come in, and when you live with RA, weather can really affect your body, and it gets kind of painful sometimes. So unfortunately, I do have to take care of my body before the show sometimes. So I do apologize for not being here, but health comes first, especially when you start getting up in age. You got to start paying attention to it, not like when you're youth going, I'll be fine. But I want to thank you, BZ, for having me here. It's always fun. And you know what, Jeremy, this was the first time we've done a show together, and it was a blast.
Yeah, so, I had a good time.
Anytime you want to come on my show, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
You have an opening, and that'll be it, because I have to hit the restroom.
All right. See ya. Take care. And this is sad. Holy crap, this is sad. In terms of, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then let's do this. I will not. Fuck. Fandom is right. You're never living that down. Okay, so I'm going to be like being on Ken McClinton's show. I will never make reference to that again. Ever again. Sean's leaving comment, being in the back room when I miss a chance to insult Joe. Well, I can bring you back. Yeah, I mean, if you want to insult. No, I can't. Joe's gone. Joe's physically gone. So in any event, Jeremy Hansen, tell us about your show. Tell us about you. What color do you like in Long Walks Off a Slow Pier? And what's your favorite cartoon animal?
Well, my favorite color is money green.
Okay.
You can check out Unleash 101 on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere premium podcasts are. That's where we're at. I really want to urge people. I think that it's important to realize where we're at. Donald Trump is our last chance. Literally, if you're a conservative, if you love this country, if it doesn't get done during Donald Trump, there is no after Donald Trump. And I think it's sad. And when you went on your rant, BZ, I wanted to say Scott Lebedo. I don't know if you know him. He's an artist from Long Island where he does beautiful flags and stuff. And he said, I can't believe we're at a point in New York with this Mamandi. And the way he said it was so poetic. He said, I can't believe the only person they got to vote for is this cave-dwelling goat fucker. And you know what? I don't know how he can say that and not get taken down, but he's on Facebook. But I was thinking about it. He's a commie socialist
liar.
Yeah, literally. I think about that.
Racist. You forgot racist.
Racist. And the way that he looks at women. I mean, you could just go down a checklist, and that's who that side wants. And half of America is like that. That's what they want, is that type of thing. And you got to ask yourself, are you willing to put up with that? Are you willing to deal with that? Are you willing to have that as your neighbor? And I think most Americans are going to be like, no, I don't want my kids around that. I don't want a future that looks that way. I don't want these things. So I think we really got to get involved and do the right thing for our country now, because if we don't do it soon, we won't have the country left to do it. It might still have the same name, but it's not going to be our country anymore.
Well, let me throw this out as one last thing, and then I'm going to go hasta la bye-bye. And that is this. I personally think we're not that far from a civil war. Will I be advocating for that? Will I be an active advocate? Well, if the left starts laying bodies, and we know under what circumstances that would occur, I have no problem with that. None. Zip, zero, the null set. But there's an easy way to provide proof to the people who seemingly demand it. And I've said this, God, for a while. Pick a city. Any city. My suggestion would be, let's say, New York or Chicago or Portland or Seattle, maybe even LA. But out of those five, pick a city, delineate that city, and then turn that city into a leftist utopia. Let them run it any way they want. Drive out the cops, drive out the businesses, levy taxes and fines like you ideally want to do. Just don't talk about it anymore. Do it. But first, identify that city and just do it. You want that experiment? Let's have that experiment and let's see what the hell happens. Now, clear-thinking individuals such as you and myself and anybody else that was on this show, we know precisely what would happen. It's what happened to Oregon. Oregon said, free hot and cold running drugs. And all the druggies came to Oregon. Boy, that was a shock. And then 2 or 3 years later, it didn't take all that much. You know, the 357 with the 6-inch barrel to the head before Oregon said, well, maybe we made a mistake. Let's have it. Let's have that mistake. Let's make, I have no problem saying this either. Oh, BZ, business and Wall Street. Let's have that. Let's ruin the lives of thousands of people. Oh, but I didn't vote for that. You're still there. You have the chance. I paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to get out of fucking California. Always spell it with a K. That cost me big time because I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to have anything to do with anymore. And I understand that there are people that are landlocked for all that, but I wasn't going to have my hard-earned American taxpayer dollars used like a cudgel against my head, against me. I am not the future of that state. Not at my age and not in my melanin count. That's obvious and quite clear. So you want that experiment, pick a city, let's see what happens. And if it, like I say, I suspect you may lay multiple sidewalks worth of bodies. And the people that are laid down may have been completely innocent. Well, we're still here. You keep voting for that shit. Hashtag consequences. And if it kills you or your friend, or it injures you or your friend, lesson fucking learned. Votes have consequences. Actions have consequences. Inactions have consequences. So let's see it. Leftists, globalists, Democrats, put up or shut up. All I got to say, Ming.
Amen. Thank you, BZ. Love you, brother.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Take care. Folks, I do believe that that's essentially it for me. I shall be back Tuesday night. At this point, I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about on Tuesday night, but wait, fear not. Between today, which is now Friday in most of the country, still isn't Friday yet for me. I'm Pacific. There will be a ton of stupid shit to talk about between now and then and over the weekend. So everybody, you know what? So, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for being in the saloon. I appreciate each and every one of you. Had a lot of people. Last count, 360 people were watching. Maybe they were walking as they were watching. Walking and watching live right now. Thanks to my great guests, Sean Lewis, Jersey Joe, and Rick Robinson, and Jeremy Hansen. Always love having these people on my show. And as per normal, because after all, it's pretty normal. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones, the Arrakis company, the people that make my board, also Mixer, I guess. Also Pratt & Whitney engines producing Thrust. You can trust. And finally, tiaras are by My Little Pony. Thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be concerting in less than 10 minutes. Thanks to everybody for watching. Greatly appreciated. Everybody. Thanks. God bless. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Night, everybody.
Night, Mama. Night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob. Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.